We also have our podcast. We have our short reels that are all over Instagram. They are on TikTok, and they are on X, which is Twitter. And you can go see our podcast on Apple Play and Google. And we stand tall. We want to be that voice out there for people who just want to get a little bit different perspective. And we're covering education, politics, Jesus, sports, and people stories. Today's a little more politics, and it's time to get fired up a little bit. And the reason is because when you're looking back at a town like I live in Newberg, Oregon, we have a budget, thing going on at the district office. Well, I haven't been on a school board for a year, but obviously it's all my fault and the previous board's fault, because that's what woke people do. They point fingers and they make accusations, and they don't mind lying at all. They don't mind stretching the truth at all. And so think about this for a little bit. I believe that there's a woke point system out there that the wokers have developed. So if they go on Facebook and they're just like brutally mean to somebody on Facebook, somehow they get 10 points in their wokers account. So they get woke points. I mean, how else can you explain this? It's kind of like that video game out there where you build a kingdom and you build castles, and it moves all the way up through the decades and the centuries until it's more modernized. But you're basically, in essence, building this kingdom from stuff. And I've had a lot of people say it's a pretty fun game. But all you win is points. You're not winning any money. It's not like you're going to the casino and winning or losing money. You are just doing this for the enjoyment of a video game, for example. Kind of like zombies. A friend of mine got me to come over, and I kept telling him no for 2 years. And finally, we put this virtual reality headgear on our heads, and off we went. We're killing zombies. And I got to admit, it was kind of fun. I plan on doing video games when I'm 80. When I'm not out there, being as active as I used to be. I plan on taking video games up then. But I did this a couple months ago with my buddy Ken, and it was a kick. It really was pretty fun. Little violent, but we're just killing zombies, right? Well, what are the wokers doing? They're not killing zombies. They're going after people in our community, and I know some communities out there don't go through this as much. They're going, but they hear. And we live in Oregon. Oregon's definitely weird. Oregon is, I think, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. We live 70 minutes from the Oregon coast, which is gorgeous. A couple hours from Mount Hood, 3 hours from Central Oregon. The Columbia River's an hour away from our house. The Columbia River Gorge is, 2 hours away. Absolutely stunning. Our timber out here, our forest. We live a half hour from the Coast Range. Some of the most beautiful scenery, landscape, agricultural lands, hazelnuts, which really filberts, berries, grapes for the wine industry in our area is turned huge. We have beautiful farms. Oregon is a cool place. Not Portland. I didn't say anything about Portland because Portland has just let themselves go. They put the wrong people in charge. And it's unfortunate because Portland once was a very beautiful town. And I had somebody tell me the other day, they said, well, it's not bad down there. After the George Floyd riots, there wasn't a parking meter that wasn't broke. There wasn't a window hardly that wasn't broke. Plywood everywhere. The most awful graffiti imaginable to the roughest inmate you've ever seen. It was terrible down there. And now we have homeless. We have people that are openly doing drugs. Talked to a lady last night. She went down for a meeting downtown Portland, and she's in her late 30s by herself. And there's a guy just tweaking out right in front of her car, like right in front of her car, downtown Portland. And you'll see that all the time. You go down there right now. It is 10:05 a.m. You'll see it right now. That's what you'll see in many parts of Portland. Then they got parts that are cleaned up, and they got parts that are horrible. They've let the homeless thing run out of control. The mayor in there, the DA doesn't prosecute anybody when they rip up the Portland State Library for $750,000 in damage that your taxpayer dollars, my taxpayer dollars have to pay for that. This is happening in different parts of our country. It happened at all these different universities. We're big Oregon State people. And they even took a building down there and they camped out and they spray painted stuff. And, we know somebody that works on their staff down there, and they were just appalled that a bunch of young people could come in there and just be so destructive. And again, I'm talking to a relative the other day, and she's like, oh, it's really not that bad. Yeah, it really is. When you go to the Portland State University, which is not a university that just has an unlimited budget, so just drop another 750, $100,000 to go in there and put it all back together. And they spray painted books, things that are you can't replace that kind of stuff sometimes. So, again, back to the woke points. You know, tell me I'm wrong where these people don't get some type of charge out of this, where they get on their Facebook warrior page and they got other people sending them coffee cards or something like that. Woke points, because I went off there and I told Dave Brown, he's in the mother effing racist, and so I get 5 woke points, right? Yeah, you do. I mean, it almost seems like it's that way. And like right now, our superintendent is under a tremendous amount of attack because there's some budget issues down there. He's a superintendent that came in here, and I helped hire him. He's a great guy, works hard, cares about the community, wants to be here, is willing to work with. When the board got flipped from the board I was on to this next board, he was willing to work with them. And yet this board was ran by the progressives of Yamhill County. And what they did is they sponsored, paid for everything, all the ads. And we had people come to our door and lie, just flat out lie, look at my wife and just say, yeah, Dave Brown's a homophobic, racist, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, finally, after like 20 minutes of talking to him, she goes, well, you got to talk to me, stand right there. They turned white. They didn't know what to say. This happened many times around our community where they'd knock on doors of friends of ours who know the truth. But again, the truth didn't matter. And I think like right now, when we talk about truth in the United States of America, we're all kind of confused, because you turn on CNN today and some of the stuff they're talking about Donald Trump. And for example, I saw the interviews, the one where he said, I'll be a dictator. Go back and watch the original tape of what he actually said. In jest, in fun, it came up about, somebody from the left had said that. So the person asked him that question. What he said was, he goes, well, it'd be kind of fun to be dictator for a day, then it's down to business. And he did it totally in jest. Today, Wolf Blitzer, whatever his name is, the Don Lemons of CNN, even though he's gone and fired, they just can't let this stuff go, man. They take that like it was the gospel truth, and it's not what he said, but they keep repeating it. And the fact that he's going to come in, and today they're talking about that he'll get revenge on all of the Democrats for, what they're doing to him. And what he said was, he said, if anybody probably deserves the right to go back after somebody, it'd be me. But he goes, we're not going to do that. He goes, and this is what he said. This is what every American should sit back and go, this is the kind of guy we want. He said, we got to stop this. This is what he said. This was just on TV just now. And, Wolf Blitzer was just absolutely gaslighting the whole thing, because that's not what Donald Trump said. He said that we have to stop all this right now and get on with back to justice, get back to running our country. And he's not going to come in and get revenge on Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. He wants to run this country back to being a great country. And so the people that aren't telling the truth out there, the people that are progressively woke, that just can't seem to handle anything other than their Trump derangement syndrome. And our community, it's the previous school board, me, and our superintendent, they have this derangement syndrome that they just can't let it go. It's got to be somebody's fault, and they're going to just go hog wild. They've sued us, they've came after us, they've attacked us, and when they get something to go their way, it's like sharks in the water. Throw a little bit of blood in there, and they're all over it. And it's going to come back to bite them at some point, because the truth always will prevail at some point. Go back and look at COVID. COVID, I think, was a real thing, but COVID wasn't what Dr. Fauci told us it was. He basically lied to us. He didn't tell us the truth. They covered stuff up. Dr. Fauci and a whole lot of people around him and a lot of the big pharma made a lot of money off COVID. And what did they do? I mean, we put our kids in their houses for a year and a half. We told people they had to wear a mask when they didn't really have to wear a mask. The shots. We know now that people have died from those shots. We know that sometimes it helped people, but everybody's built different. It was a really bad case of a strain of the flu, and we did have people die of COVID, and we also have people die of the flu. every year. It just didn't have a name like, COVID-19. And so we know we were lied to again. We weren't given all the facts. We were given bits and pieces. And what did we do? We just tore our country apart. And that's what the progressives and the wokers do. They tear apart. But they told us they were going to do that. They told us they were going to do that during Black Lives Matter. We're going to tear the system down. Tearing the system down meant they're going to tear this Constitution down, the way we run our United States now. They're going to tear it down so they could rebuild it in how they want to. And how is that? Not the freedoms that you and I enjoy. They're going to tear it down so they can go out there and rebuild it into socialism, Marxism type government, because they think somehow Justin Trudeau up in Canada that this is the way to go. Ask any normal person up in Canada if Justin Trudeau is the normal way to go, and they're going to tell you just heck no. Canada is going to have a lot more issues coming up too, because people like Trudeau have gone so far over the line when it comes to government interference. It's crazy. It's happening here more and more and more, and we're all losing our freedoms slowly but surely. So when we're talking about everything going on with the truth right now, we should expect the truth. And when we don't get it, we need to call people out. When Ted Wheeler, the mayor of Portland, says, we're fine. No, you're not fine, Ted. You got homeless people everywhere. You got businesses moving out. You've got, when you do have riots in Portland State, you don't do anything. You don't put anybody in jail, and you don't support your police department the way you should. You're doing a terrible job. And let's just say it like it is, Ted. That's how anybody that's not one of your deep wokers looks at it. Horrible job. You've taken a beautiful city and done a horrible job leading that. Kate Brown did the same thing for the state of Oregon. She went with everything that Newsom did, and I'm trying to think of the guy up in Washington did. We're the left coast for a reason, because we're left, far left. Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, the Adam Schiffs of the world, the Hillary Clintons of the world. They don't care about you, really. They don't care about me. I'm a deplorable, according to Hillary Clinton, because I'm one of those people that's a MAGA person. And it's like, make America great again. Well, how come we've gotten to that point now where, there's all the people out there that just, when we say, you're a woke person or you're a progressive, that's our way of saying, MAGA. We don't agree with you. We don't like what you're going to. We don't want socialism. We don't want Marxism in our country. We don't want it at all in any way, shape, or form. People want to own a business. They want to go to work and do their job, make money, support their family, work really hard. Maybe they can go on vacation. Maybe they can save up for a new car. Maybe they can own a home someday. But when government gets involved, what happens? Taxes go up and things stop happening quickly. Anything to do with the government's going to go slow. I spent 20 years, Judy spent 34 years in the public school system here in Oregon. Everything happens slow. I go to the school board, everything happens slow. In our state, the Oregon Department of Education, for an example, is what can we believe that comes out of their mouth? What truths do they do when they promote all of the DEI, all of the woke stuff, all of the progressive stuff, all of the gender ideology? This is something that they push every step of the way. And if you work in public schools in Oregon, there are still a lot of people who don't believe in this stuff, but they cannot say anything. Administrators can't say anything. I had somebody ask the other day, she was mad at me, and she said, what's an agenda-based activist? She's like over 40 years old. And I'm like, you don't know what that is. It would be somebody's an activist on either side. They should be going to school and doing their freaking job. They should be going in there and teaching. They should be going in there and just doing their job and not telling a bunch of students, that Donald Trump or Joe Biden is an awful person. They should be teaching their math class. They should be teaching their English class. They should be teaching their economics class. They shouldn't be wearing rainbow all over themselves. They shouldn't be doing any of that stuff, because they're there to be an educator, not a woke, DEI sponsored George Soros, believing person out there. You were hired to be an educator. So be an educator. And we're supposed to be doing that for our kids. I'm telling you, I talk to young people all the time. Just ran a tennis camp with over 65 kids. The older kids in the camp, you just ask them a question, how's school? Not setting them up for right, left, Republican, Democrat, red, blue, none of that. How's school? Boring, easy. We don't do anything. I have a couple of good teachers, and I have some teachers we just don't do anything. We're on our tablets. How many of you guys know how to write? I think out of like 18 older kids, we only have about half the group. And you know who they were? They were homeschoolers. They were homeschoolers. In the younger camp, we had almost 50 kids in that camp, 47 or something like that. And I think we were at about 65% homeschool and about 25% private school. And then we had about 15% or so public school. Never seen that before in 45 years of coaching this tennis camp. Incredible. And these parents aren't going back. No, they're just not going back. And you educators, I hope one of you listen to this, because you know why? Oregon is ranked 46 in the country for a reason. You're not doing your job. You're doing a poor job. We've got kids coming out now that are not ready for this real world because you haven't done your job. And we're making it way too easy. Everybody passes because DEI says we got to be inclusive. No, we don't. We just need to take every single kid. I just did it for the last 4 days of camp. So don't tell me I don't know how to do this. I've coached for a long time. Every single kid in that camp. We had brown, we had black, we had Asian, we had white, we had poor, we had people with money. We had every kind of parent. We had young parents, older parents, we had grandparents there. And you know what every one of them liked? Is we made the kids work hard. And every single kid got told, you know, good job, nice try. Make a mistake, next play. No excuses, next play. And these kids were capable. In 4 days, they all improved a great deal. Is it all coaching? Sure, some of it is. We know how to do this. We know how to get kids going. We know how to motivate them. And that's what kids want today. They don't want some teacher like you out there, that's some activist teacher telling them all about, you know, Joe Biden and you know, what's her name? AOC and, you know, the country of Palestine, which is not a country. There is no country of Palestine. You know, our young people, they need to know how to write. They don't. They need to be teaching keyboarding. They don't. They need to be teaching business marketing, which we're just starting to get back to. Who made that awful decision to take that out? And I know about my second or third year at Newburgh High School, about 2002, 3, 4, somewhere in there. We did away with vocational stuff, which now they call it something else. But they took that out of our schools. They mothballed an entire beautiful wood shop at Newburgh High School. And why? Every kid's going to go to college. Every kid's going to get a degree. That was the mindset back there in the early 2000s. Are you kidding me? I've got kids left and right that have their own businesses now at 25, 30, 35 years old. And they didn't get a college degree. They might have went for community college for a year and went, yeah, I'm just going to go get this thing done. And they're making good bucks. They make more than you do, some of you teachers. And it wasn't anything you did for them, because you're too busy with your agenda. You're too busy sitting around going, you know, how are your feelings today, little Susie Johnny? Well, you know what? Maybe they getting their feelings hurt is a darn good thing. Maybe some of the way we did stuff in the past is a good thing. We can learn from the past and then do a little better on some of the stuff we didn't do so good at. But I'll tell you what, there's teaching, you know, 10, 15 years ago was a heck of a lot better than it is today. And that's because we only have a certain amount of teachers that are still doing a job in their classroom. They put their head down, do their job, and they go home. And I could look around Newburgh and walk right up to them right now, and they would look me right in the eye, and they know that I know that they're a good teacher. I don't want to say their name on the air because I don't want to get them canceled at school, because I know what that's like. My wife and I know what that's like to get canceled at school. My wife went into a PE class one day, and her coworker said this. Unbelievable. She's trying to teach a bunch of sixth graders how to play volleyball. Well, volleyball is not an easy sport. We got a moving ball that's big enough. It's going to come in. There's contact. And my wife was just trying to teach them how to bump. She's been on 2 state championship team coaching staffs as an assistant coach. She played high school volleyball at a big school. She is having a hard time getting these girls to learn how to bump. You know, that's when a ball comes in and you bump it up to get the set, to get the spike, right? And so Judy comes home and I said, what'd you do? She goes, I went out and bought these big heavy duty balloons. And we did balloons because the girls were scared of a real volleyball. So they started using balloons and they got the concept. Her coworker walks in. She's still there right now. And I hope she's listening because I've watched her teach and she is below average at best. And again, I'm not using names, but I watched her several times and teaching her classes. And she sits around on her phone more than she does actually teach. But you know what she did? She told my wife she was a horrible teacher because we don't teach them how to play volleyball. We put the ball out there and let them play. And when I heard that, I was like, are you kidding me? That goes against everything that all my great teachers, Mr. Russo, Mr. Altnader, Mr. Johnson, every really great teacher I had coming up, they showed us how to do stuff. I was a basketball player. Mr. Russo taught us how to wrestle. To this day, I know how to wrestle. because Mr. Russo taught me how to wrestle. Then as the head wrestling coach with state championship, he also showed the basketball players how to play basketball. And he showed us how to play football. And he showed us how to play softball. He showed us how to do stuff. And that's how we learned how to do stuff. We just didn't roll it out there and rely on each other. We'd have just been diddling around playing ball. We didn't learn the skills we needed to set. This woman came up to my wife and told her she was a horrible teacher. When I told Judy, I said, that's one of the smartest things I've ever heard as a coach for, my entire, career. Coaching basketball, tennis, 44 years at the high school level. I've coached youth baseball, coached middle school football. I've coached a lot of things, camps in the summertime. Again, we just finished the camp teaching these kids how to do basics. We're just trying to put a couple bricks in the wall so the next time their wall gets a little bit bigger. So as we keep on going with this thing, I'm going down this thing where we have to know what the truth is. What's the difference between a good teacher and an activist teacher? And you should know out there. If you don't, get your kids out of the public school like right now. You should know every one of your teachers inside out. What do they stand for? What do they teach in your classroom? Are they pushing the gender ideology on you? We have people in this town who take their kids to drag queen shows. Not even kidding. Drag queen shows. Little kids, dollar bills. Here's a dollar bill from like a 6-year-old. Business owner here in Newburgh doing that. Parents took their kids to that. There was a high school boy in the drag queen show in front of the other kids and in front of our parents. Wow. I mean, this is wrong on so many different levels. It's insane. What is the truth? Demand the truth. When somebody's not telling you the truth, Donald Trump is going to be a dictator for life. No, he's not. Send an email to CNN and tell Wolf Blitzer to retire, resign, go do something where lying works. Maybe go to China and North Korea, go to Russia, where lying is maybe more the norm of the day. Tell him to get off the air and stop lying. He didn't say I'll be a dictator. Never said that at all. Didn't say that at all. When people in your group lie about something and they don't know the facts, they're being a Facebook warrior, call them out on it. Don't let them off the hook on this. Everybody's got to stop worrying about you're going to lose a friendship over this thing, or maybe they won't come to our barbecue, or, it'll be uncomfortable to see them. BS. Start telling people, no, don't lie to me. We're friends. Do not lie to me. I had to do it the other day with a relative, like her a ton, but she was talking about Margie Taylor Greene. Didn't like her. Okay, you don't like her. And so I didn't want to get in this conversation. I said, well, what about AOC? And she goes, what about AOC? I said, AOC is horrible. That's how I feel. She goes, no, she's not bad. I said, no, that's how I feel. I think AOC is awful for our country. And her squad, they don't like the United States of America. And they're too dense to get it because they're not about America. And so I guess, like right now I've been a little fired up because like in our community, for an example, and we're an unusual community, we got some dang weirdos in this town. When I go around and speak, I say there's 15 crazy people in Oregon and 13 of them live in Newburgh. And I wish I could just say the names out loud right now, because all the people that are maybe moderate to conservative in this town, they know who they are. And those people have lost all their respect, all of it, completely lost it, because they have just lied so much. And when you're a progressive and you are out there attacking people with the woke points, you lose a lot of respect really quick, because people are like, that's not the way you treat other human beings. That's not the way you come after people. Full circle back to our superintendent. Our superintendent right now, is he perfect? No. I was on the staff last time where we fired the previous superintendent, and it all came down to some very specific reasons, and got ridiculed for it, like he was really good. No, he wasn't. He was an agenda-based superintendent, simple as that. But there were a lot of specific factors. Previous to that, we had a superintendent that didn't do a good job at all. I just worked in a school district then. I wasn't part of any committees, boards, or anything like that. And she ended up getting, leaving, getting pushed out. And then the previous superintendent here was here for a long time, did a pretty good job. But she came totally against us on our school board, and never once did she come talk to me. Not once did she ever come talk to me. Say, hey, Dave, kind of what happened there? Nope. And she didn't go talk to our superintendent either before she threw him under the bus. Why do people do that? Because they have an agenda. An agenda is a pre-planned attack on what they want to do. Now, we all have our things we're going to vote for. Republican, Democrat, red, blue, conservative, liberal, progressive, and that's okay. Whatever camp you fall into, it should be okay. You shouldn't be attacked for how you feel. But that's the way it's came to. That's our society as we live it now. And people across this country say, "Well, I can't say anything, or I'll get in trouble at work." And I get that to a point, but I'll tell you what, the people that I thought I knew pretty well in this community, who have never talked to me about an issue, who are willing to say the meanest things online now because they believe the fact that Dave Brown's a racist. I've said this over and over, and I'll keep saying it. No, I'm not a racist. Brown, black, or white, Asian, don't even care. I've been around brown, black, and white and Asian people my entire life, a lot. And absolutely zero care for the color of their skin or the color coding. I always just look at the personality, and I do agree with Martin Luther King. What is the content of their heart? And I've said this in school board meetings, and I get these people shaking their heads like I'm an idiot. So if you're calling me an idiot, you're calling Martin Luther King an idiot. You are, because that's where I got my belief in that. Judge them on the content of their heart, not this. And all white people are not racist. They're not all privileged. That's why I voted no on the original anti-racism. Go to standtallwithDaveBrown.com, and you'll see things on there. We're trying to format the 3,300 word response I did on anti-racism, because it's all just crap. It's all BS. That this whole anti-racism thing even took place in the first place. So, again, it's Stand Tall. I appreciate you guys. A little more fired up today because all these woke people out there that just treat people like crap. You need to call them out. Tell them to stop. All these people that just go around, you're talking, across the fence in your neighborhood, and they start to say stuff about somebody else. Say, stop. Don't do that. I don't want to hear it. Call them in their place. And then if they keep going, just say, hey, I got to go. I'm out. You don't have to hate on them. You don't have to dissolve your friendship. Just say, not doing that. Do that on social media. Say, no, stop. Stop talking about that other person like that. And then if you do get told about somebody like that and you hear it in your head, and you start to go, oh, maybe Dave Brown is a racist. Go talk to Dave Brown and find out if he's really a racist, because you're going to be surprised how many times you actually go talk to somebody and you go, oh, not a racist. Wow. Why would they say that? They say it because they're so far down the woke system that this is what they do. It's the Trump derangement syndrome all over. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen on the other side. There's the F Biden, there's the Go Brandon. There's people that don't like Joe Biden either. They think he's an absolute buffoon, that he's not healthy enough to be president. He's not mentally healthy enough to be the president. And they're probably got some valid points. And you could step back and say, well, Donald Trump's a jerk. Probably got some valid points. Not telling you who to believe in or what to believe in on that. That's up to you to decide. But you need to be discerning. You need to step back and say, I'm going to find out this stuff and find out the real facts before you think Donald Trump's going to be a dictator or Dave Brown's a racist. Get your act together. As an adult, you owe it to your community to get your act together and sit back and make sure that you do not let people rip apart other people's character. I know on my original school board, Brian was fired. Renee was fired. Trevor and I were, and my wife Judy, we were gone after at our places of employment by people who hated us, by people who doxed us, by people who came after us, and by people who just didn't want us to be there because they didn't like what we stood for. I'm telling you, every single day, including today, I have people come up to me and say, thank you for everything you do. Now, does everybody in Newburgh feel that way? Oh, no. There are people here who really don't like me at all. And you know what? I've watched their actions. I've watched how they've come in a school board meeting with both middle fingers flying, dropping F-bombs when the camera was not turned off yet. I used to be neighbors with that person. My lawnmower helped mow their lawn. I had walks with them and had dinner with them and worked for them for 5 years. And now I see them and I don't recognize them at all. They hate me, absolutely hate me. They don't treat me or my wife good at all. And why? It's sad for me because I saw them back when they were really nice people. They're not nice anymore. Not nice at all. I mean, they treat a lot of people like crap, not just Dave Brown. They're awful. They're absolutely awful to people. And I don't understand that, where they can go from at one point in life, they were people I wanted to walk into and talk to. I worked for them. I coached under them. And it's sad to see people become so mean and so angry and so off. So, again, I'm imploring you to stand your ground, stand tall, call people out when they lie. Don't let them do that. Be careful of what you hear about other people. Go find out the truth before you go off and say anything to anybody, even if it's somebody that you totally disagree with. Don't get on Facebook and be a Facebook warrior. Don't do it. That's why we're not going to drop names here on Stand Tall, because I don't want their kids to watch me badmouthing them. That's not right. They'll do it to me. My kids have heard it. They still have friends that live here in this community. My kids don't. They hear it and they're going, why would they do that? We used to know them, Dad. They were pretty good people. I go, I don't know. I don't understand when people get so far down into a belief system of progressiveness that's going on in our country that they actually believe what they're saying. This is Dave Brown with Stand Tall. Please go to DaveBrownStandTall.com. You'll hear stuff from Judy and I, our team. Our team is growing. We're doing some good stuff behind the scenes. And for all you progressives out there, we're going to have information on here that will hopefully be something you want to even listen to. And at least you can get the facts how I see them. And you might not agree, but to specifically, if the person that was listening would listen to what I said today, I would hope they would look at that and say, I don't hate you. I'm disappointed where you're at and how you treat people, but I don't hate you. I'm hoping at some point there would be a chance to have a pop or a cup of coffee and at least talk, but not in the ways you've done this, not in the ways you're splitting apart our community. I'm shocked that you've joined these people that are, you say I've split the community. Holy smokes, you better look in the mirror. But maybe someday we can have that cup of coffee and may or may not be friends again. But at least we could, discuss stuff. For some of you other people that have reached out and on the progressive side that I've had coffee with, and you've tried to set me up, and you're not there to listen. You're just there to spew your stuff. I'm just not interested in talking to those people because they've played their cards several times, and I don't need an apology, but I don't need to sit there and listen to their BS either. This is Dave Brown. Stand Tall. Peace out.